What's up guys, it's Megan. I hope you're having a really magical day. Now that it's February and it is coming up to flower and garden season, which is one of my absolute favorite festivals of the entire year. I know that I talk about how much I love Halloween, but if I had to choose a really close second, 100% it would be for the Flower and Garden Festival. And I just wanted to go over my review and an overview of the behind the scenes tour because I took that on my last trip, and I'm gonna do a quick overview for you guys, let you know my thoughts and opinions and if it's worth doing. So if you are interested in learning more about this tour, if you're interested in Disney, please stay tuned, and if you like this kind of Disney stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel, and let's just hop into the video. So to begin, I wanted to go over what the Disney website says about the behind the scenes tour. It says, explore the future of agriculture and get up close and personal with the critters of the land pavilion and on this walking tour. You have to call for reservations, or it is also located near the exit of the Living with the Land attraction. So if you are interested in signing up for one of those, you can do it while you're in the park, or if you want to do it ahead of time, you do have to call the number listed on the website. There are so many different tours, like tour times available. From what we've learned talking to cast members, they do say that the early morning ones and the later afternoon ones tend to be a little bit more crowded. It also depends on what sort of day or week you're going. We went during marathon weekend and it was pretty busy. Our tour was completely booked. Usually though, I would say for the most part, if you head in the middle of the day between, they have a time at 12, 12:45, 1:30, 2:15, probably one of those tour times, you'd get like almost no one. I have seen like people while we are on Living with the Land, I've seen almost private tours because there's only 2 people there. They said that there have been tours with just 1 person. And so if you want to call ahead and see, or if you're going there that day, just check with the cast members, see what time is sort of the least crowded. I would say you'd probably get a better tour experience if you are going with less people. My group was really big, but it was still a lot of fun to go on. So when it comes to the price, it is the cheapest tour that you could go on at Walt Disney World. It is $25 for an adult and $20 for a child. I am an annual pass holder, so I get 15% off of tours and special events like that. So I paid $21.25. I actually was able to buy the tickets for everyone in my group, so all of us got a discount because I bought them. And so it's for $21. It's like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes your tour, and it's like eating a meal at Disney, but you're experiencing something. And my family and my mom and I are all about experiences. We're all about the journey, so we love going on these Walt Disney World tours. Okay, also going over the Disney website, it says, visit 4 greenhouses and a fish farm to catch a glimpse of amazing plants, insects, and fish. Like Living with the Land attraction at Epcot, then you'll love the behind the scenes tour. This 1-hour tour, and they did give us a caveat that it could be an hour and 15 minutes. It just sort of depends on the size of your group, how fast you're moving, and everything like that. The 1-hour tour of the fish farm and 4 greenhouses that make up the land pavilion is perfect for anyone with an interest in gardening or natural sciences. On it, you'll visit the fish farm and see what it's like during feeding time, which I will also get to. And while I'm talking about these things, I will also insert clips of my experience at this store. Behold gigantic fruits and vegetables and unusual crops from around the world. Discover the latest plant growing techniques, including hydroponics. Look, Ma, no soil. Take home a handout with some great ideas for your own garden. And I think this was like, because especially that we are very interested in gardening, we have our own garden, we're very like, I don't know, we wanted to experience the knowledge that the cast members brought to this, because the tour guide that we had was an intern. He was doing like research about plant science at university, and so that was his area of expertise, and it was really cool to have him on the tour guiding us. And so, like I said, I will go through how the tour experience was, and if you're interested in seeing some of the clips from it. I know sometimes people don't want to be, you know, they don't want the tours to be ruined, or they want it to be a surprise, but if you don't want to pay attention to those parts, I can leave little timestamps about what I'm talking about. So let's get into the actual tour. So to begin, we did head backstage. We sort of headed towards the exit of Soarin'. We were able to go through a door that led us to some of the greenhouses. We started talking about leaf miners and different insects that they use to help control the population of certain insects in the facility that they use in the greenhouses. And so it was very scientific. We learned a lot about different insects, their purposes or their duties that they have as insects and what they do for the gardens. And we learned that you could buy a bunch of different things off of Amazon, like live insects, which is so weird, but we learned so much about how they maintain some of the greenhouses with these insects. And like I said, I don't want to ruin some of your experience, but I think it was really wonderful to learn about that. They played a few video clips for us, and they had a lot of like visual displays, and like I'm such a visual person, so having those visual displays really helped me to learn. And we talked a lot about leaf miner flies and insect pest control, and how they grow these, the parasitoid wasps, and all these different things. It was really, really incredible to learn about. Then we headed back to learn about tissue cultures and how they use tissue cultures in Epcot and how they grow these plants. And also really interesting, I really know nothing about this. I'm not a chemist. I study psychology, so that's a different kind of science. But it was so interesting to learn about how they grow these plants and how they have to be in specific light and have to be climate control. And it was just, like I said, so interesting to learn about, especially if you're interested in plants or gardening. I really am, so this was a definite must-do for me. Like I said, that was the biotechnology lab for crop improvement. And then we headed out to some of the greenhouses. We saw a lot of their hydroponic systems. We saw a lot of the moving plants that are in that last room in Living with the Land, and just how they sort of display and grow their plants. And it's really amazing, all the different technologies that they use to help grow the plants. And I'm a huge fan of kale, so finding the kale here was incredible. And just a lot of different ways that you could stack plants, use hydroponics, all these different things. And after we learned about that, we were given some cucumbers that they had just grown. They were seriously probably one of the best cucumbers I've ever had. I do grow, like my mom and I grow our own cucumbers and we'll make pickles, but we do grow cucumbers over the summer, and our cucumbers are really nice too. So if you have never had really, really fresh cucumbers, it is amazing. I got like 4 or 5 slices of cucumbers, so that was amazing. Next, we went into some of the next rooms. We talked more about the hydroponics and how they grow certain plants. I also got to hold this ginormous, I think it was a winter squash or it's some kind of squash that was huge. It was 35 pounds, and I'll insert a picture here. And it was just so funny to hold, and who knew that vegetables weighed that much? So next we moved into some of the sand plants. Like, I don't know how to explain it anymore, but in the other rooms, a lot of them were potted, or they had like specific soil that they were using. And then in this next room they had sand, and I can't remember, it was something crazy, like 6 feet worth of sand in there, and you had to put on little booties if you wanted to go in there. And I mean, we didn't have a chance to go in there, but if you were, for the people that are working there, the cast members, they have to put on little booties to go in there so that they're not bringing any like bad chemicals or particles into the sand that would disrupt the plant's growth. And it was a whole process. But it was really interesting to see how some of the fig trees grew. They had coffee trees or coffee bean trees, and a lot of citrus that was there as well. And then we went into the fish farm. We learned a lot about the fish, and one of my favorite parts was that we got to feed the fish. We were going through the fish farm, at one of their feeding times, they get fed like they get fed on every tour. So I don't know, 7 to 8 times a day that they're getting fed. Really, really cool to feed them. They all went like crazy when the food came, and it was just a lot of fun. If you have enjoyed like it's not really like a petting zoo, but if you've fed animals before, I don't know, it's just so funny to see their little heads jump out of the water. Then we moved into our last room. We were learning about different spices and how some of these plants provide really expensive spices. This is my favorite room. It's the first room that you go into after you've done like the dark section of Living with the Land, and then you come into the greenhouses, and it's just, there's light, and it feels like you're in a see-through or a transparent spaceship Earth because of the design of the little dome, and it just makes me feel really happy to be there. And we learned, like I said, we learned about spices. We got our picture taken, and there was just so much information to absorb within the 1 hour. Ours went to about 1 hour and 10 minutes, and we had a really big group because, like I said, it was the marathon weekend, so a lot of the runners wanted to do something that was like really relaxing, and like I said, it was like $20 for us to do it. It was $21.25, and it was totally worth my money. Like I said, you really have to be interested, or you want to learn more about this specific area of expertise. Like if you want to learn more about gardening or about plants or about horticulture in general, like this is the perfect tour for you. I didn't see any little kids taking this tour. There were no kids on my tour. We were all adults. Actually, I think I was probably the youngest person there, and I don't know if a child would like this tour. I think if you were going as a family, it might be very interesting, but I would say it's probably a little bit more geared towards adults just because of the material that's being presented by the cast members. It's really difficult to understand sometimes, and it's just like a lot of science. But if they like science, I mean, that could be really cool to learn and teach them about it. I know some people try and say Disney is an educational experience, especially if you're traveling to Epcot and the World Showcase or Animal Kingdom, but it is definitely a learning experience if you want to go and do this. Some of the other tours that I have experienced, like the Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour, was a lot of knowledge, but it also had a little bit of entertainment within it. Not that this tour didn't have entertainment, it was just a lot of knowledge. That's what it was basically on. A lot of knowledge about plants, about insects, about their greenhouses, hydroponics, all of how they grow the food for Epcot and in the Land Pavilion. And a lot of the food that's coming from the greenhouses in Living with the Land is used in the garden grill, which is also in the Land Pavilion, so that's really cool. If you were to decide that, hey, this sounds like really fun and you like plants, I would say 100% do it. It's totally worth your money. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I think every tour is probably different based on the tour guide that you have. I think mine was really knowledgeable. He was really young and he was learning, and he was so excited about presenting the plants and all the greenhouses. And if you like this kind of stuff, it's definitely worth it. Overall, I would say 100% do this if you can. It is super quick just to relax during the middle of the day. Like I said, it is better to go during the middle of the day, as the cast members have told us that that's probably a little bit less crowded for the tours. And I don't know, guys, it was just so worth it to me. I had a lot of fun. It was really fun to do with my parents. That was the day my dad came to Epcot with us, so we made it really special. And I had a lot of fun. I love doing the Walt Disney World tours. This one in particular, I would say, is worth for people that are not annual pass holders, because a lot of the other tours are very long, they're expensive, and if you are not an annual pass holder, I think to spend $100 on a 5-hour tour and then you need to buy your ticket on top of that, it's like $300 just to go. I mean, $250 to go to the park that one day, and to me that's not worth it. I hope you guys liked this review. I was gonna say quick review, but it's not a quick review. if you have any questions about the tour, please don't hesitate to ask. I tried not to give too much away, but I also wanted to sort of explain what goes on in the tour, because that's the sort of information that I like to know before I choose to spend money on something. And like I have said several times, like these types of videos that I do about reviews is sort of the information that I was looking for before I went. So even with dining or these tours, like what is provided to us, I think that's really important to share with this community here on YouTube, so you guys are making educated decisions and you're not wasting your money on something that you don't really want. So like I said, I hope you guys have a magical day. Sorry for this lengthy review, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you real soon.